Trump 2016 economic advisor, former CEO of CKE Restaurants, Andy Puzder. Andy, it's their crisis, right? They're creating a crisis. They're trying to scare people. But, you know, I think Americans are smarter than that, because when you look around and you realize you're employed, your next door neighbor's employed, your friends are employed, your family's employed, and there are jobs out there and wages are going up, that has to give people a little bit of a sense of optimism about the future that they would not, I would argue, would not have had with the right economic policy not in place.
Well, you're absolutely right. I mean, truth, fact, and reason are under attack. They're just under attack by the Democrats, who are out there really telling the American people, who are you going to believe, us or your wallets? I mean, your wallets have more money in them. You have jobs. There's more job openings. Wages are going up. Matter of fact, there was another Gallup poll just about a week ago where 69% of Americans said they thought they'd be better off next year than they are this year. That's the highest number since the Clinton administration, and only 26% of Americans said the economy wasn't working for them. I think a lot of them were probably Democrats who don't want to say anything good about the president, but that's the lowest number since the Clinton administration. So, you know, things are good. People know it. Again, who are you going to believe, us or your wallets? And that's not a great argument to make.
The crisis thing, though, you heard the sound that we played. I mean, you can tell they got a talking point and they're running with it. But I think, as I said earlier, and I think you agree on this, Americans are smarter. What happens, though, as we go forward to 2020? I would argue, and I have, sir, that the more they continue down this path with socialism, the more they want to take your money and spend it however they see fit, the more they're boxing themselves in, because that's not where the country's head is at.
You know, I heard a good joke. I'll give you a quick joke I heard about socialism the other day, which is, what did socialists use to light their homes before candles? The answer is electricity. You know, this is and I think that's a perfect joke that describes socialism. And I think people get this. Look, the more Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez can talk, the better. The more that these Democrats can go out and yell that you're in a crisis when everybody's got more money and they're working and they're really not in a crisis, the better. I think they're in a crisis because President Trump, with his conservative economic policies and his policies overseas, is disproving everything that the Democrats tried to convince the American people to believe during the Obama administration, which was basically, more government is better for you. Trust us, we're good for you. President Trump said, no, smaller government's better, lower taxes are better, deregulation's better, and now everybody's working. I think 2020 will be great.
In the last year, record tax. You know, people forget that because I think so many people on the left say, oh, you know, the minute you lower taxes, well, it's just a giveaway and we're going to lose revenue. Look, Andrew Cuomo's figuring it out, even in New York, right? You know, they're losing tax revenue because of the high tax bracket, and people can't, you know, deduct the state and local tax here anymore. So what's your takeaway? Policy matters?
Well, policy matters a lot. Like I said, I think the American people understand this. You got to remember, back in the early 80s, well, you wouldn't remember, you're not old enough to remember, but back in the early...
Thank you, but I remember in the early 80s, yes, and I remember Regan being vilified when I was a kid in a way that I see some similarities now, but continue with your thought.
Well, and then but the economy boomed, and when it came time for the election in 1984, he said, you know, are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? Well, that's going to be a very relevant question in 2 years, because I think people are already better off than they were just 2 years ago. We've got more people working. We've got more job openings. We have more people working than have ever worked in the history of the country, and 1 million more job openings than we have people unemployed. You know, times are good. Wages are going up. It's harder to find a blue-collar worker than it is to find a white-collar worker. The economy is booming. People understand it. They know it. The only crisis here is that President Trump is proving everything the Democrats have been basing economic theory on for the past 100 years wrong.
Proving them wrong, and they hate that. So suddenly we're in crisis. Andy Puzder, good to see you. Thank you so much. All right, we have a lot more coming up tonight.